He used to say music was the only thing that ever felt honest. Before the lights, before the fame, before the deal. Ethan Vale grew up in a small apartment above a laundromat in Pittsburgh. The machines downstairs rattled through the night, but to him, it sounded like rhythm. He would tap beats on the walls, hum melodies over the spin cycle, and imagine a stage bigger than the city itself. His mom worked double shifts at a diner. She was always tired, but when he sang, she would sit at the kitchen table and cry quietly, smiling like she was watching a miracle happen. Music chose you, she'd tell him. Don't ever let it go. He didn't. He took every class he could. Choir, piano, vocal coaching. He practiced until his throat burned raw. When he wasn't in school, he played on the streets not for money, but so anyone could hear him. He believed that was enough. It wasn't. The man appeared on a Thursday evening in October. Ethan had just finished singing under a flickering street lamp. The crowd was thin. Wind cut through his jacket. When he looked up, the man was standing there, perfectly still. Black suit, polished shoes, red tie, no breath in the cold air. You have a gift, the man said smoothly. How would you like to be a star in the music business? Ethan laughed. Are you an agent or something? The man smiled wider than felt natural. No, I work behind the scenes. Something about his voice felt layered, like two people speaking at once. Ethan hesitated only a second. Yes. The man stepped closer. His cologne smelled faintly like smoke. You'll have everything. Fame, awards, devotion, but you must give up something. I'll give anything up to be a star, Ethan said instantly. He meant it. The man's smile sharpened. Good. The day you retire, the devil comes to collect. Ethan blinked. Collect what? The man leaned close enough for Ethan to see that his eyes weren't brown. They were pitch black. You'll find out. The man extended his hand. Ethan shook it. It burned. When Ethan got home, red and blue lights filled the street. An ambulance idled outside the apartment building. He pushed past the paramedics, heart hammering. His mother lay on a stretcher, pale and still. A heart attack, they said. Sudden. No warning. He remembered the man's words. You must give up something. The funeral was quiet. The deal was not. Within months, everything changed. A viral clip of Ethan singing exploded online. Producers called. Labels fought over him. He signed contracts he barely read. His first album topped charts. His second one a Grammy. He stood on stage one night, spotlight blinding, thousands screaming his name, and felt absolutely nothing. He told himself it was grief. But sometimes, backstage he would catch a glimpse of that black suit in the reflection of a mirror. Watching. Always watching. Years passed. Ethan became a household name. He toured the world. Sold out arenas. Private jets. Interviews on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. His songs played everywhere. But the people around him felt hollow. Managers who smiled too wide. Friends who laughed too loud. Strangers who called him brother and family. Even the love of his life felt scripted. He met Leela at an awards show in Los Angeles. She was beautiful, elegant, and seemed fascinated by him. They married within a year. They had a son. On paper, he had everything. But sometimes he'd wake at 3:17 a.m. and see Leela sitting upright in bed, staring at him in the dark. Not blinking. When he asked what was wrong, she would smile too quickly and say, "Nothing, baby." His son drew pictures of a tall man in a black suit standing beside their house. "Who's that?" Ethan asked once. The boy shrugged. "The man who waits." The years kept moving. But Ethan didn't age the way he should have. His voice never strained. His face never wrinkled. At 45, he looked 30. At 55, he still looked 30. Fans called it legendary genetics. Ethan called it a countdown because retirement loomed like a storm on the horizon. Every interview, someone asked, "When will you hang it up?" Every time he thought about it, the lights in whatever room he was in would flicker. Once, during a concert in Chicago, the entire sound system cut out mid-song. The arena fell silent. In the silence, over thousands of people, Ethan heard a single pair of hands clapping slowly from somewhere in the dark. Clap, clap, clap. The lights came back on. The crowd had heard nothing. But Ethan knew. The day you retire, the devil comes to collect. He tried to test the deal. What if he just stopped making music quietly? No announcement. No farewell tour. The next morning, his son woke up screaming. There were burn marks on the boy's bedroom walls. Handprints. Large. Not human. Leela stood in the doorway, her expression blank. "You made a promise," she said in a voice that wasn't hers. Ethan went back on tour the next week. He grew exhausted. Fame became a cage lined with gold. He couldn't trust anyone. Every smile looked rehearsed. Every hug felt staged. He began to suspect something worse. What if none of it was real? What if the fame, the wife, even his son were props? Pieces on a board to keep him performing. One night, alone in his mansion studio, Ethan whispered into the dark, "What do you want from me?" The temperature dropped instantly. The black-suited man stepped out from the corner, where shadows shouldn't have existed. "You wanted to be heard," the man said gently. "Now the world listens." "I didn't mean for my mother to die." "A soul for a spark," the man replied. "A fair exchange. And when I retire," the man smiled, "that is when your voice will truly belong to us." Us. The man's reflection in the glass behind him was not human. Horns. Wings. Fire burning behind empty eyes. "You will sing," he said softly, "forever." Ethan understood then. Retirement didn't mean death. It meant damnation. An eternity performing for something that would never applaud. Now he's older. Tired. He stands at the edge of announcing his farewell tour. Fans beg him not to quit. The industry panics at the thought. Leela watches him carefully. His son doesn't age anymore either. Sometimes Ethan wonders if they're waiting for it. For the announcement. For the moment, he finally says the words. "This is my last show." Because somewhere, in the front row of every concert, there is always one man in a black suit. Smiling. And clapping. Slowly. Clap. Clap. Clap.